Welcome back to another episode of Deal or No Deal with your favourite property auction hunters, Jay Howard, Omer and Piotr, and myself, Saif Derzi. Today, Jay's going to be talking to us all about his deal. So, Jay, take it away.
Everyone. This one really caught my attention. It's a property that's going into the Barnett Ross auction, which is taking place on the 14th of December. It is lot number one. Now, it's very, very rare that we look at lot number one. Lot number one it's either going to determine the success of the auction or the failure of the auction, and I think this one is going to do really well. The guide price is 1.35 million, and it's a really big bit of kit. It is 11 to 13 Pratt Street in Camden, NW1, and it is a freehold commercial residential investment, which is trading as a shop on the ground floor, a teaching centre on the first floor, and then subsequently 3 flats. One of the things that jumped out to me on this one is it's been in the same family ownership for approximately 100 years. So for auction, this is a rarity. It reduces your risk that you're buying from a trader. It reduces the complexities of buying from mortgagees not in possession or receivers, all of that kind of stuff. The legal pack is pretty good. They give them floor plans. They've talked about HMO licenses that benefit the flats. It's a really, really tidy property. So for that 1.35 million, you'll be looking to get an income of £114,000. And there are 2 vacant areas. So for me, this property is great because it's a mixed-use property. It has a retail unit on the bottom. It has an office training facility on the first floor, and it has 3 flats. Now, for me, there's a part of this property where I think you could probably increase the income. There's parts of this property where I think you could most definitely split off parts of the property to recoup some of your initial capital outlay. But overall, it's a really nice asset in NW1, which is a nice part of town. It holds its value, has done historically over a couple of recessions and other nasty things. And the fact it's in the same family for 100 years and you get to buy some of that history, I really like that. I really like that very much. Who has any thoughts? Who wants to take it over? Who wants to see? What do we think here? Saif, do you want to go? You've normally got some good comments.
Yeah, I definitely like the size of the asset in terms of the versatility of what you can do with it. There's future development potential. There's a lot of asset management potential as well in terms of anything that's currently void, and obviously potentially looking into the leases more from a point of view of rent reviews maybe. And I like the fact that you've got the actual sort of resi element to it as well. And I'm sure Omer will tell you more from a finance perspective, but I find like it's a bit easier to finance something that is mixed use as opposed to pure commercial, because obviously there's a large element, let's just say, of resi in there. So I do like that. The positioning looks brilliant. It looks like it's in a really, really good position and a pretty good parade. So you're not going to worry too much about the future letting potential of whether it is the offices or whether it's the commercial unit as well. And there's clearly a lot of use for that as well, especially sort of the NW postcode. So for me personally, I think if you can get it anywhere close to kind of that guide and you're in it anywhere close to kind of 9-10% yield in London, where else can you get that from a mixed use property, especially where you've got sort of multiple income streams coming in? So I really like the deal. It's a deal for me.
Be good to hear your thoughts.
I like this property. What concerned me about it is pretty much what Jay has said and hit the nail on the head. This is lot number one, and the auctioneer has high hopes for this property. Now, if it can be purchased around guide, it's currently producing 114,000 of income. At guide, that would be a yield. If it can be picked up at 1.35 million, that would be a yield of just under 8.5%. Now, for Camden, for Northwest 1, that is for London, central London, essentially a great postcode, that's a phenomenal yield. And what's also quite interesting is over more than 60,000 of the income being produced is being produced from residential, which might actually be slightly underlet. So I think the fact from a financing point of view, this is a semi-commercial asset. You'll be eligible potentially for a semi-commercial mortgage, commercial mortgage, which is cheaper than a pure commercial asset. And your risk is split because you've got some money coming in on potential FRIs and some of it coming in on ASTs. And so if there are potential voids in any of those elements, you've got other income coming in. Would I buy this? Yes, at guide, I think it would be a really good deal, but I'm quite concerned about how much over guide this potentially could go.
I think you would buy this, Omar, because this is a very kind of Cypriot Turkish people area. Even the shop is run by Pilsen Ozdil. That sounds Turkish, doesn't it? So I really think like this is a phenomenal asset, and this is the kind of asset that follows the kind of the best qualities of the deals that we've done, which basically it's been in same ownership for a long period of time, and it is producing income, and it's not insignificant income, like 8.5%, 114,000. And I also think that the income from Sprott is very much underlet, both for the commercial and for the residential elements. And the shop, the ground floor shop is let until 2025. So it is coming up for renewal in just under a couple of years. The tenant has been on occupation for over 20 years. That's a really long time, and I've purchased things in that shop. It's a pretty decent shop, and £30,000 rent for that shop is not a lot. Then the first floor college that occupies 1,400 square feet. That's a massive space, and it's let at £20,000. Definitely underlet. And I also looked up whether Camden's got Article 4 area for converting commercial to residential properties from commercial to residential, and they actually put Article 4 in Camden, but that Article 4 has been modified by the Secretary of State, which they only allowed certain parts of Camden to be under this Article 4 restrictions. So this property is not, so it could be converted into flats. 1,400 square feet could be easily 2 or 3 flats, depending on the layout, depending on the windows. And then the flats, they are definitely underlet. I can see that a 2-bed is rented out at £100 per annum more than a 1-bed. And it's twice the size. 100% you can get more income from it. And also, like last but not least, there is a massive development potential. As you can see on the Google Earth pictures, there is a lot of floors to be added. Potentially, some other buildings are massively higher. There is not much of a conflict between like windows or light issues and stuff like that. So I think this is a phenomenal asset, and I can see also 14 people are watching it. So lot number 1, it will be a hot bidding war. That's my opinion.
My gut feeling on this is I think it will probably sell a little over 1.5, because people are going to know that if they wanted to, they could do that conversion on the first floor. Anyone that's looking at NW1 are looking for basements, roof spaces. You can extend out to the 2 vacant units, vacant areas to the rear of the building on the first and the second floor, maybe to increase the size of the current flats or to create a new flat. So there are so many opportunities for this building, and I think buying it at 1.5, I think someone who's got development experience and has operated in that NW1 area is going to really transform that building. Because from the face of it, it's not the most attractive building on that part of the road or on the high street. So you improve the fascia of that building, and I think almost instantly you're adding curb appeal, you'll increase rent appeal, you'll increase the capital value. I think you would have to go a very long way to make this a bad deal. So I think 1.5, and I think of the 14 people registered for the auction on Thursday, I think that will creep up, and I think it will sell quite well. I'll be annoyed that we didn't buy it, but I think it will sell quite well.
Yeah, I literally was going to say 1.55, so I'm going to say 1.55. it just has a feeling about it. I think that kind of 1.55 region, I mean, even when you think about it, 1.55, what's that? That's 6 to 7% yield. That's kind of what people are looking to pick stuff like this up at. And you maybe have a bit of a 1 to 2% asset management yield uplift, basically. So I think if someone can buy this at 1.55 and they can asset manage even to get it to about sort of 130, 140,000 a year, that's going to be huge income for that area. So yeah, definitely around 1.55. Why did I say guide? Because I'm a trader, and obviously this is not necessarily what a trader is looking for. This is what a developer / asset manager is looking for. But this could suit a family office really, really well. It could suit an institutional buyer. I've seen lots of institutional buyers buy stuff like this, asset manage really, really well, and then either consolidate and then sell the whole portfolio off, or basically just hold it for the longer term.
Do you think, is it a deal, no deal? What's the price that it's going to sell for?
Mate, you know me, I always want things cheap. The Turkish Cypriot chap in the ground floor can't entice me to buy this unless it's at the right price. Wouldn't mind being a freeholder of this lovely building, but I do think that the price will be even higher than you guys are thinking it will be sold for on the day. At 1.6 million, this is still a 7% yield, and 7% yield for residential property in that area would be unheard of. So I think because there is so much residential space in the building, or potential to make more residential space, I think there's just so many different angles. There's, as you guys like to say, multiple exits from this building that could be, someone could carve it up and sell the residential on. You could perhaps try and go down the HMO route in the residential, or convert the first floor office. I think it just gives so many different options for someone to play with the asset. And I see it going in excess of 1.6. So we'll see on the day.
Brilliant. Well, I like going last with those things, because then my analysis does not impact what you guys are saying. I actually think this is going to sell for 2 million. I literally think this is going to sell for 2 million. It's a lot number one at Barnett Ross auctions. The price thing's extremely low, and they convince their long-term clients to take a risk, but then they perform and they sell things for really good prices. So I think it's going to reach 2 million. Minimum is going to sell for 1.75, and that'll be a deal to someone. And this is going to be purchased by someone who's got a lot of properties in the area. They already know the area. This is going to add to their massive portfolio. And
I'm almost already looking forward to Thursday now. It's going to be like Christmas just to see how much it sells for. I'm really interested in that. But yeah, I think that kind of sums it up really well, because even with 4 of us here that are experienced in auctions, that have seen hundreds and thousands of auctions, no one can actually come up with the right figure. And that's why auctions are amazing, because every single time something sells at auction, it can sell for a different price. And that's what I love about auctions.
Brilliant. Okay, guys. Well, let us know in the comments what you think this is going to sell for. And no cheating. If this episode is released after this property is offered, don't look it up. Have a look for yourself. Let us know in the comments what you thought. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.